Well, a question back there, and then let's take a couple more questions and start to wrap up.
So, in the paradigm of the ecosystem in the platform, how does that apply down the network stack? Are the same lessons applicable? For example, I'm with Cisco. I make plumbing and infrastructure. My bosses would argue I make something else too, but how does it apply?
Well, are there?
Infrastructure place.
It's funny because, and you know more about Cisco than I do, but if you look at what they're doing with telepresence, I think it's smart. Build out that plank, understanding that for a small company. What was the one that I saw? It's the orange logo. It competes with Skype. There's an iPhone app board. Skype was just on Bloomberg West. Tango. So you got Tango, you got Skype, you got all these different ones. Maybe for a small business that's good enough, but for a larger business can afford a telepresence license, which is what, $250,000 give or take? I think that is a plank to develop. Is there a way to downscale that so it's maybe better than Skype, but more affordable? Again, are there planks out there? Again, you can't be everything to everybody. No one's saying that Cisco should also give ballet lessons, right? But are there related things that could potentially result in happy accidents?
One of the things that I talk about in the book is start to visualize for the customer what's happening simultaneously for the customer. Now, it may be a little bit less on a network stack than it would, say, be a consumer. What are they doing simultaneously? Definitely applies to the Gen Y, as they're all multitasking and what's happening. But there may be something going on simultaneously, and then you also want to look at the sequential. What's happening before, what's happening after. It's a good way to kind of take a 360 view on your offering and kind of what's the bigger picture of what's going on, and do I need to be playing into that and building out that overall ecosystem. Let me give you an example of this kind of thinking. I just did a project for a major consumer package company, and they're trying to visualize, they have their traditional, they sell to the grocery stores, they sell to the consumer. They're actually envisioning how will consumers manage using iPads in the home? And what can they be doing as a company to help with replenishment of the pantries, to help with healthcare kinds of issues, and how do they need to build that out? So what might happen in this case is maybe the supermarkets may be taken out of the picture. It might be a completely new way of servicing their customers, because if they start building an application about not just I'm going to sell,
Widgets.
A consumer widget, but I'm going to have this entire app for replenishment of the pantry, and I'm going to help them, kind of like the concept of a Kindle. Think of the Kindle, how you read a book. They're going to have this in the home, and I'm going to have these consumer goods that I'm going to need, and it's going to help me figure this out. Or maybe I have healthcare, I'm doing beauty products or things like that. So really trying to rethink from the customer perspective. So there might be things from a communications perspective. If you think about how corporations try to communicate, what is it that they're really trying to do, both looking at that vertically as well as horizontally in the process. And so I would, the telepresence is an example of that. I think there's some other enterprise examples in terms of what corporations are trying to do to communicate, and how can you play into what business users need.